All right, we are live. Hello, happy Sunday, everybody. We are here to do a reading wrap up for the Willow Wraith Press Indie Book Club of the month. And the book we have is by Lily Greene, aka Poppy, aka AJ Alexanders, aka, which we'll explain in a few minutes. But the book this month, or for this month, was chosen by our Goodreads group. Oh, Tim's here.
Hey,
Hey,
what's
Tim's
up?
here too. You
Hey,
made
Tim.
it. So the book we have this month was, it's coming up, An Ambitious Woman and Her Very Normal Pet, which,
Oh,
yay,
wrong one.
right here too. So without further ado, let's introduce everyone. You all know me. I mean, probably know me at this point. But I'm Bill. And I am not a very normal pet, as you can see right here. But Poppy, thank you for joining us, and we will get to you in a few seconds. But
There.
Alex Schuerman, we have the wonderful Alex. And then CB Lansdale joins us all the way from South Africa. So she was able to come join us today because of the special time we're on, which thank you, Co. And Timothy Wolf, who
Hello.
loves romantasy. Tim's with us. And then we got a bunch of people in the chat. So this month, Poppy, tell us all about your book. Please explain how this came about, because this is actually a very interesting concept with this book. So for those that didn't read it, explain how this goes.
Okay, so I participate in an annual event called the Inkfort Press Publishing Derby. I love the hat so much. Thank you so much. I started back in 2023, which I believe was their third or fourth edition. Hey, Greg. And what it is 100 authors sign up, and we kind of rank some covers, and we are basically assigned them at seemingly random. You are assigned a cover, you're assigned a pen name, and you have 3 months to write, edit, publish, and market a book. So 2023 was Not Your Mountain, which some of you guys know. It was fun. I'm actually cleaning it up right now to be republished because it had a lot of grammatical errors, but that should be out when I finish it. Last year was An Ambitious Woman and Her Very Normal Pet, which is the book that we'll be talking about today. And this year, I'm happy to announce that I wrote Underleveled under the pen name JJ Howell. So if you're interested in purchasing that, it is time to reveal. So yeah,
I actually just bought that one. So.
Oh yeah? I hope you like it.
I will.
It's got a dinosaur on the cover, so it's kind of right up Tim's alley.
Yeah.
Are we doing fancy hats today? I need a fancy hat.
Go get a
Do you
hat.
have a hat?
I think I got one.
Bring a hat.
We're underdressed.
Yeah, right. So, Poppy, give us
give us the elevator pitch.
Sorry, get a what?
Elevator pitch.
Oh, I've actually had a hard time elevator pitching this one. So essentially, it's a time loop fantasy, cozy fantasy about a woman trying to avoid a war and the prince she is running from.
Okay, and
furries.
Yeah. So I had a question about the concept. What inspired this core concept of a necromancer being brought back to life? Because that's kind of what it is. It's like, give it a second chance, but it's the necromancer that's brought back to life.
I loved how you have caught on to that. Looking at this cover initially, it was, I think, my first or second pick for the year last year. And I saw that it was very intense, and I saw it looked very dark, very actiony, very something big is happening. And I decided that I wanted to subvert those expectations. I wanted to throw readers underneath the bus and go, haha, told you so. But I also needed to kind of blend in, of course, the cover and the cover art and what that kind of looks like. So as you read about close to the end, we do have a little bit of a battle scene so that it fits in with the cover. But I just really wanted to write a cozy fantasy. And that's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Not Your Mountain is a little bit more on the cozy side, but I couldn't market it that way. I wanted to play with the idea of what an ambitious woman looks like in this world and who the very normal pet is.
So was the title and the cover already matched?
Yes, including the pen name. So the cover, the pen name, and the title are all given to you.
Okay. So I want to know who came up with this title.
I
It's a
think
good
this
title.
was a community pick, actually. I think that they had put a poll on in the Derby chat before Derby, and people put it together and named it. Also, I think my internet is being very bad, so let me put on my mobile hotspot, and if I drop, I will drop, and I'll be right back.
Not a problem. So Greg says he loves the logic of the magic system and the way that the necromancers worked with their bones.
Yeah,
So-
it's cool to see necromancers like outside of the scary guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because I always think of the Diablo 2 necromancer.
I really, really wanted to do that.
It was also interesting, that kind of dichotomy between the necromancers and the druids, and how that was kind of like two poles of the whole magic system.
And am I back now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry about the switch.
I kind of felt like that really deepened the world, where, you know, there was kind of the darker side of magic that you would normally expect from the necromancy, and then the druids were kind of the good guys in the traditional sense, although within the story that turns out to be not true in the slightest. But it was kind of a fun double take on how the magic worked.
I really like that you guys liked it. That makes me very happy,
It
actually.
was excellent. I was like really nervous it was going to be fake cozy. Like, I think Co traumatized me because I always just think something horrible is going to happen every time I read.
Yeah. But cozy and horror have a way of sometimes blending quite nicely together.
And that's such a
Yeah.
weird thing, because
Yeah.
you're 100% right, and I don't understand why that is.
Yeah, it's a really fun. I still think it's a fun reader's subversion where they come to expect one thing and you say nope, haha, and pull the rug out from underneath them. And I have fun with doing that, as you guys know.
I was gonna say it's interesting because you start off, and spoiler alert, first chapter, spoiler alert. She's hung. I mean, like, it's on the first page. She's
Yeah,
about
that's
to
The
what I
die.
main
mean.
character is up.
Yeah,
Yes. And dies.
Within the first 3 pages, the main character dies. Yes, this
and
is not a
it's
major
interesting
spoiler.
because, you know, you don't really expect that with like, I mean, like Alex said, with the trope, you know, being the necromancer and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know what I had envisioned when I picked up the book. Like, I didn't expect it to be as cozy and like as like it's romance, but it's not romance, but it reads like romance.
Yeah,
Without the like, I mean, there's romance in it, but it's not like full bore on your in your face. So I was like, this is just like a hodgepodge of things I was not expecting.
I like that you've kind of picked up on that. I think what does make it feel like a romance novel is that it's told in first person present, which was something that I wanted to play with and torture myself with. But I think that lends itself to the feeling of reading a romance novel for sure.
Well, the other thing was how much of the focus was on the relationships between the characters too. It wasn't just the tense. It was a lot of, okay, well, we're meeting with some of the people in the village, and oh, there's this blacksmith that I kind of, get the butterflies around, and
Yeah.
oh,
Happens
she's
to the
got
best
a
of us.
And even the
secret friend.
constructs,
And,
even the constructs had such personalities. I mean, I love that you had created a magic system in which the necromancers kind of need the permission of the deceased to resurrect them. Like, they've just, a part of them hasn't moved on, and they're willing to have a second shot at life, working. And yeah, I mean, the fact that they kind of retain some of their personality, but at the same time, they're not just kind of enslaved by the necromancer to be used however they see fit. It was awesome that you gave each of them like these quirks. And I mean, I loved Lassus, how organized
too.
they were, but all of them were awesome. They all came with and like Roderick, and was Amelia Roderick's kind of sister figure, I think. Those two also, like the banter that they had together, it was really, really well done.
So
I
where
thought
did the
Andrew
idea
was the
come
MVP.
from?
Inflating my ego.
I mean, again, to pick up on the thread of, subversion, where did the idea come from? That these necromancers have to basically ask consent. Where did that come from? Like, where did the idea stem from?
I think that was just essentially that. I think the prevailing expectations of necromancers is defiling the dead. And I think that a lot of pop fiction ends up kind of using this of like, oh, one of the major issues with necromancy is that you are, messing with consecrated earth. You're dealing with people's bodies, and that's really, really, I don't know, like it's really personal, right? And it can be horrible if you're mishandling that. And I didn't want to do that. I think that honoring the dead is really, really important to me. I also kind of wanted to explore like the beauty in death, I think. And to do that, I needed to introduce this kind of, you have to ask for permission, right? Like not all bones want to be raised again. And I thought that was a really, really beautiful way of doing it. And I took it and ran because I thought it was neat.
It's honestly brilliant because I think like the primary thought with necromancy being evil is that it's like a form of slavery in a lot of instances where you just bring the dead back and you make them fight for you.
Yes. And I did not want them to be slaves. I wanted them to be enthusiastically consenting to hang out.
It was very pleasant. I never would have thought of that.
That you wove in not just in the necromancy, but the whole story overall is consent and slavery, and I guess this theme of otherness and what it means to be part of something and not part of something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, with this whole timeline that you were on, how long did it take you to come up with the idea and go? Or did you just kind of plan as you were writing?
For this one, so you have about a week to rank your covers when the covers are released. This usually happens about mid-May before they're assigned at the end of May. And the priority is to rate about 50 of them. I think they hand out a spreadsheet of 150 covers, and you rate them 1 to whatever. Most people get their top 10 covers, but they're not guaranteed your top 3, your first one, things like that, because they're assigned a number at random, and then they go down that list, right? So author 1 gets their first choice, author 2 gets their first choice, unless it's author 1's, so on and so forth. So it's really important to kind of look and judge, is this cover cool and can I do stuff with it? I had made this mistake in 2023 with Not Your Mountain, where I rated it very, very high. And I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I just thought it looked cool. And that took me 2 weeks of precious time that I could have been using to write that I didn't have because I was trying to figure out what to do with that cover. In this one, I went into a little bit more prepared. As I was ranking my covers, I kind of put like a little blurb or a log line or things like that. So I kind of had the idea ahead of time. Once I rated these things, I think I had about 5 of them that I was like, I've got bunnies for this. Let's go. And Ambitious, I think, was ranked 2 on my list, which was a big mistake. But it was good. So I started out with an idea. I am not a planner at all. I'm more of an exploratory pantser of sorts. I've heard it best described as like a headlight writer, where you can see about 2 chapters ahead, but nothing past that. Or you might know the end and you only see the next 2 chapters, and that's it. Like everything else kind of flows. And
that's pretty neat because I would have thought that you planned this whole story because it's very well regimented.
Oh, thanks. There's no chapters in it. I don't know if you guys noticed.
No what?
There's no chapters in it. I don't know if you guys
did not notice that.
Yeah.
I did.
I mean, you kind of have chapters because you switch the POVs, but
yeah, I mean yeah, it's true.
Yeah, the structure is very, very finicky. I had a blast doing that. It was entirely an experimental novel, pushing my limits and my comfort zones as a writer just because I could. And it turned out really good for some reason.
What is the male main character's name again? Antonio?
Antonio.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought his introduction and how he was woven into the story was very planned because it
Oh.
was well done.
I will say I did have to insert a lot of his early POV after the first draft. And the reason for that is I wrote it as 20,000 words in one person's perspective, and then 20,000 words kind of blended with them, and then 20,000 words of just Antonio. And you can kind of see how that kind of stuck around while I was editing. But the early POV introductions of Antonio were introduced after the first draft. And that may be why.
That's so interesting because actually I did not like him in that first chapter because you don't see any of his redeeming qualities yet.
Good. Good.
And when you mentioned in Discord that you liked him more, I was like, that's impossible. That can't be.
You know what's weird,
But-
Tim, is when I was reading his first chapter, I instantly connected him with Mute. Like
That's not a good sign for Antonio.
no, like it just felt like that type of delusion, basically. In his first chapter, I'm like, he feels like he's way out of the loop, and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work. Like, I
It
don't
worked
know where
very
he's
well
gonna go.
because
Well,
And-
it's like what Mute could have been, like if he'd gone a different path or something.
I mean, but it's interesting because because it's felt romance vibe. When he first comes in, you're like, ah, shit, here's the love interest. And I was so happy when it wasn't.
yeah.
Good. I did kind of toy with that idea, but the characters were not. That was not a mold that I could push them into, not by any stretch of the imagination. So as I was kind of looking ahead and going, okay, I know I have to introduce this prince at some point, and after this 20,000 words, I have to bring him in and challenge him and so on and so forth. But the reader will only know about, like, they've only heard about him. So how do I, put him in? Do I make him a love interest? Do I do this? And I was like, no. Ugh.
I'm so glad you didn't do that. I
Yeah.
think that
And
would've
you know
been
what,
weird.
by the end of it, I actually found, and slight spoilers over here, but he and Sybil almost have more of like a sibling dynamic or a son and moon dynamic. He kind of represents more the druid side, and she's representing the necromancers. So, I mean, they've got this lovely contrast. But yeah, at least there's no romance, and it absolutely is perfect as it is. There doesn't need to be. And the relationships that they develop, like with other side characters, are much more interesting than any kind of enemies to lovers situation that could have arisen.
Yeah, I agree.
I really like that you pointed out the sun and moon because I did kind of model it kind of like that. So like you have the druids and the necromancers, you have the night, the day. There needs to be this very stark contrast between the two. So thank you. I did it. Yes.
Yeah. It would have been really hard for me to accept that as a romance unless Antonio was like absolutely gorgeous. And then you just kind of wave away all the red flags.
It's just like Fabio with his hair blowing in the wind.
Yeah, but with the characters, once I got to know them, it was very clear that they were not straight.
Okay, I have a question.
Which I didn't expect.
Was there a single straight character in this book?
What's the mayor's name?
Huh?
Maggie?
Maggie,
Who?
the mayor.
Maggie.
Oh yeah, the mayor, Maggie.
Yeah, she might be the only one, Alex, because she always yells at. I'm looking at the books. I was trying.
Whatever her husband's name is. Yeah, I think that she might be the only straight person. Yeah, I didn't really expect that. I think that some of the constructs kind of are, but also that's a little bit different because sexuality and romantic like persuasion is a lot more different when you are bones.
I imagine so. As an ace leaning person, I actually kind of identified with the constructs in that way. It's just not on the radar for them.
Like they can recognize it and they can maybe, touch a little bit, but they feel like a lot of distance between it, which was very interesting. I didn't expect that when I wrote it. When I wrote them.
I do words good.
My words do good.
I will say, and this is not a spoiler-ish, but my favorite scene is when Sybil and Antonio cross paths. Like,
Really?
it was my favorite. Like, without spoiling what happens, Sybil the necromancer was murdered because Antonio and his kingdom invaded, and they believe that necromancers are bad. So he has this mindset, right? And when they cross paths finally because of things, reasons, it was in his POV, so it was like very tense. Like you didn't know what was going to happen. Because even though you've been with Sybil for a while in her POV and you knew exactly what she was trying to do, you still didn't know because he was hunting her, and also because of the time loop stuff, she knows what the outcome was. Like, it was just so tense and so good. I was like, oh, this scene is awesome. And like, you subverted my expectations as a reader because I was not expecting it to go that way. And I was like, this is damn good.
Thank you.
Having truth magic was brilliant because otherwise it would have been really hard to convince either side.
Yeah.
And I loved how mature the characters were in the way they dealt with the aftermath of finding out who Antonio was. Like, there could have been a lot of unnecessary drama there, but Sybil was very chill. I like that.
Well, I mean, she had made up her mind from the very first chapters. I mean, that was right while she's, she was like, yeah, he's probably got his reasons. I'm okay with him.
Like, specifically, I was just reading this a second ago. It's really, I forgot that I had said this. It's very funny. Where is it? Like he's, I don't know. He's just some guy. Oh yeah, he's probably just figuring it out like the rest of us. That's how unserious Sybil is about this whole affair. Really.
I have a weird question. Not really weird question, but
sure.
Do you have in your head that you wanted this like family of necromancers to not know what happened to the rest of them? Like specifically the one I can't remember his name. That Benjamin, yeah. Like they just go off on their merry and just like disappear and all this stuff. But knowing what she knows, it's just like, did you have that idea in your head that you knew where they were, or you just kind of like go with it?
I know where Ben is. I will say that I know where Ben is, and I know what he's doing, and that's an important thing that I don't discuss in this book. But I also kind of treated it like, that uncle or that aunt that just kind of like disappears and then like shows up a couple of years later, and their entire life is completely different. I think that's the kind of way that I was handling the necromancers in this case. Is that when they disappear, you're kind of like, okay, dude, where did you go? Like we're still here, we're still family. Like what happened? But there's also just a level of they're probably safe, they're probably fine. This is just what they do, right? They just go. They'll show up in a couple of years and have a new hairstyle and a different name,
Different husband, different wife.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I played Benjamin, and how I guess ultimately the siblings would have understood Sybil to be the way that she just took off. But yeah, not that it's a normal thing. It's just people do that.
And did Sybil, did she feel the need to move somewhere completely different because she couldn't interfere with the new timeline?
Yes.
Was that like the primary reason?
So where they're see, I have all these ideas of where people are at, but a map, and I'm also very bad at explaining this. So where her home farm is, where the siblings live, and where she grew up, is right basically on the border of Canaan and Led. So they are very, very close to those early battles. They get called in very early into the war. So she hikes it across the country on the very opposite side, where there's like mountains and things like that. So essentially moving to the Rocky Mountains from the East Coast. Because she's trying to stay as far away from all of this as possible, because the effects of the war are not seen as heavily over here, or that's how she understood it from her previous life. And we do kind of see that her expectations are subverted when we get into a lot of those heavier elements that Tony experiences firsthand. And I won't spoil things, but a lot of Antonio's point of view is experiencing this different underlying consequence of this invading kingdom. And I don't think Sybil knew that that was happening either in her first life. And so it's kind of a surprise for both of them.
So I had a very different question. This book and a couple of your other books, including one that's not out yet, you kind of have this theme of tabula rasa, or clean slate, where the characters are either given or acquire, a clean slate to start over. And I was just wondering if that was intentional, and it's an intentional theme you like writing about, or if it's just something that you think is related to your own life or your own experience, or what. So tell us a little bit, because there are multiple characters in this book that have a clean slate or get a clean slate throughout the story.
You have asked me this question before, and it surprised me because I didn't realize that I was doing that. So it wasn't intentional, not at all. And that's the other book that you're talking about is an isekai, and it's kind of got the same thing. And I also noticed that there are a lot of naming conventions as part and parcel to the new slate, right? You come into a name. And those two are common themes that I seem to pick up. I don't know why, and we can psychoanalyze it all day. I will say I am taking a lot of, I won't get into it, but a lot of personal things in my life this past year have been like moving towards that clean slate, which is very weird, and I didn't expect that. So maybe subconsciously I was moving towards this phase in my life.
Interesting.
I just wanted a clean slate, guys.
It's kind of neat to unconsciously write a theme over and over and not realize it.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun. It makes books easier to write. You're like, and then there's going to be a name thing here, There's always got to be a name thing.
All right, I have another completely different question. Do you consider Torsen, I think that's the name of the town, a utopia?
Wait. One more time.
Do you consider Torsen, the town where the farm is, to be a utopia?
No.
No.
No. Not at all.
Okay, I was thinking yes, so now I feel stupid.
I also think yes. I feel like for the most part, everyone cooperated with each other. All the relationships were amicable. They were all kind of leveraging their own skills for kind of a common good against the kind of more dark impact of the broader world, the broader region. But if you looked at it just from just this town, just the farm area, it felt very much a utopia, where everyone was cooperative and working together and all that.
It's not a utopia, it's socialism.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
A utopia would suggest that there aren't these underlying and very dark issues that are happening, especially in the neighboring towns. And those things do affect and have a ripple effect of the things that are happening in Torsen, right? So it's not a utopia, right? Solil, there's things that happen with people in this town that would not happen in a utopia.
Sure, but those are all outside influences, and I was thinking just from the this town only perspective. But I agree. I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's just socialism.
Well, you just name dropped a character that's very intriguing.
Mhm.
Do we spoil it?
Should we just come out and say it?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
hey,
a
readers.
half-human spider.
There's a
Um,
drider in this book.
Is that an
So
actual
half
thing?
man,
I've
half
never.
spider.
Is that like an actual creature?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, you've never
Yeah.
met one, Bill?
Yeah,
No,
Bill,
must
come
not
on.
be neighbors with me anywhere. No,
Yeah,
I've never
so-
heard that one before. But yeah, so you introduced a number of different type of beastmen, as they're called in the books. What made you decide to do non-human characters in this world?
For shits and giggles, for the most part. It's also a fantasy world. I think Solil was my first Beastman when I was doing the first draft. And then I realized that there needed to be more, right? That I wouldn't necessarily even categorize Solil as a Beastman as such, but he would fall under the category. He is what society, or at least Canian society, would believe is an abomination. For he has a little nest in his house, and he writes books, and he reads, and he's wonderful.
Terrifying.
He's so lovely.
I thought the reactions were pretty realistic, like especially to the giant Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, even though you want to be cool and chill, it is tough. You know?
His pedipalps, I think, are like kind of like just underneath his like abdomen area. This is hard to show, but I'm only like they're like here, and they kind of like that's where they are.
The better to hug you with.
Yes, and he's such a hugger. He was my foray into Ace, an Arrow Ace character, and he just liked hugs and like having like intelligent conversations, and so that was his job. That was his thing. He's very sweet. He deserves everything, and he did not deserve what happened to him.
Well, I could understand everyone's motivation in wanting to rally around him when the bad thing happened.
I'm sorry.
he
Say
got-
that again.
I could understand the whole town's motivation when they all came to kind of rally around and rescue him from the bad thing that happened to him,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone loved him.
Mm-hmm. Which is
Yeah, was
very-
that like mustering of the town to go save him and all that stuff? Was that like, because it kind of changed the trajectory of the story? Is like, I know you said earlier that you wrote it Sybil, and Antonio, and then Antonio, because that last 60 pages is all in Antonio's point of view.
Mhm.
Do you think it would have been different had you written some of that ending in Sybil's POV? Because it works for Antonio to be more, because he was the war hero or whatever.
Mhm.
Whereas Sybil, not so much.
I think the outcome would have been the same. I think the path would have been the same, but the commentary around it would have been very different. And I feel like Sybil had a lot of challenges with what she was facing there. There's also this like side like thread that I kind of played with, but especially as I'm drafting the second book and the second book, that her people are not very happy. Like Havin and Solil are not very happy with her. So it would have been a very different perspective on all of that ending, and a lot of sacrifice that she's making, and like is this really a good idea? But I kind of have to. But what if I die? Because I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I have to. And yeah, it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you touched on. So, spoiler alert to people: she gets sent back to life because she makes a deal with the god or goddess. but then we get another goddess that shows up, and there's like a dichotomy there. But I thought it was interesting how you towed the line of breaking this contract, and I thought the ending was really cool. And I actually didn't see it coming, but I should have from the beginning, because you hint at it pretty heavily in the certain chapters, but I never got it. And I thought it was really cool how you did that. And, you know, seeing the war only from like 1,000-foot view, because you're not really showcasing the war. You're kind of showcasing them get to the ending and what happens with Antonio and stuff. So I thought that was just really, really interesting how you played it and wrote it down. Because normally when you're reading these fantasy books and people are going to war, you're like, oh, all right, here comes some battle scenes and stuff. Really wasn't a lot of that, which was good because of what the story you're going for.
It's also good because I'm terrible at writing them.
But I mean, the whole second half, or maybe the last third of the book, was more of like a military conquest, like a very traditional fantasy military thing. Whereas the first half of the book was like farm simulator. It was interesting to see the book shift from like, okay, yeah, we're little town farm simulator thing into, no, this is a full military conquest story.
How do
Yeah, I
you
was
read
getting like
me for filth
necromancer
every time,
harvest moon
Alex?
vibes.
What's that?
Yeah,
Tim?
I was totally basing the first half off of like, because I play a lot of cozy farming sims. Like I grew up playing Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, whatever. Come on, Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons. Like that's what I grew up with playing. And then I also really love these books that have like this political intrigue and, you know, secret little things happening, and then they're going to war, but this is what's happening around the war. So yeah, thanks.
I think we got to bring back
a very good
Farmville.
mashup of those two genres.
Tim, what?
We got to bring back Farmville.
Right.
That was the peak of humanity.
Farmville was interesting. It was a very big game for what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to ask you where that inspiration came from, obviously.
Yeah, cozy farm simulators. I play a lot of them.
The thing I guess I wasn't expecting about the farm aspect was it felt a little too easy to me almost at times. It's like, oh, well, when I think of farming, I think of like hard labor in the fields, digging dirt, but she's got skeletons to do all that hard part for her, so...
And they're happy to do it.
No, and I really like doing it.
And you also have a harvest goddess on your side. Like,
what more could you ask for?
I think I needed a cozy kind of main entree so that I could really get into these side dishes. And I think the side dishes created more importance to the character and for the progression of the story than the entree.
Yeah, no, it was very much, it felt very intentional. Like, okay, this is what's going on, but I want you to focus on these relationships between these characters and maybe some of this outside political stuff.
Yeah, I kind of push you into a corner of facing hard things. And I don't mean the hard labor, I mean like the hard things.
The bones.
The bone. The bone. Hey.
Uh-oh.
So, speaking of bones, I think my favorite... Bill said what his favorite scene was. I think my favorite scene was the burial scene where... Or, I forget a term for it, where one of the characters, one of the constructs has lived their life and pass away. And so there's a whole, like, funeral scene around it. And I think that was the most impactful scene for me, even though it wasn't the happiest scene.
It was beautiful in a way that made me cry, and I had to stand up and walk away. And I probably didn't. I don't remember if I didn't touch it the rest of the night or I didn't touch it for a couple days because I just needed to let those.
I believe it is very emotional, and I think you did a really good job of kind of that deep sadness, but also this is just how it has to happen. There's nothing bad. There wasn't anything anyone did wrong. It's just the way of things, but it still can be sad.
Yeah,
it was one of those moments in the book that really kind of touched on. I think you'd mentioned just that beautiful side of death, or the part that isn't scary. You know, that you you kind of make peace with it. And that one scene encapsulated that kind of feeling. So well done.
Yeah. Thank you. That was the goal. I'm glad it hit.
Very much so.
I really like being an author and having people tell me that they get it, like they got it. And I'm like, yes, that's what I needed. There were some other things that some of you caught on to, and I think ultimately everybody caught on to, but that one made me very happy.
What did we miss? Because that's what I want to know.
What did you miss? Tim, I think you got it.
I got it. Okay.
You got it. I play with Ambitious Woman and Her Very Normal Pet. I play with that phrasing.
I was gonna say, who is the ambitious woman? Because the text thinks it's not the main character. And then my follow-up question is, do you consider Sybil to be an ambitious woman or not? I want not Poppy to answer. I want Tim and Bill and Co to answer.
I feel like the answer is obviously yes.
Yes.
Right? Like, if she's not ambitious, she died, she came back, she built a farm. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
but she's like
more than I've done
purposefully
in 30
running
years.
away from ambition by doing this, by
if
going
I'd
to the
consider
farm.
her ambitious. I wouldn't consider her ambitious. She's hardworking and headstrong and kind of stubborn, but I don't know if I'd say she's ambitious.
Yeah,
I think you guys are nuts.
Co, what do you think?
Yeah, I tend to lean like towards what Bill was saying, like hardworking, certainly. Yeah, so she seems to be looking for the quiet life, especially on the second go around. I don't know what she was like in her first life. Maybe she was a bit more ambitious that time round. Yeah, but I think the person who it turns out to be also kind of surprised me. Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to spoil that. But yeah, I didn't really think of that character. I mean, I suppose let's just put it this way, like deities in general, I'd imagine have to be kind of ambitious. So sort of a built-in feature.
So I don't want Poppy to answer the question, but answer a different question for me, Poppy. Why did you choose to subvert the cover itself with the ambitious woman and the very normal pet is not necessarily on the cover?
The ambitious woman and
At
her
least
very
what
normal
the
pet.
text says, right?
Right. I wanted to make it very clear. I think, and I think I did this, that how do I answer this without like spoiling really fun stuff, right? But like, I think a lot of you got it in that I wanted to subvert what ambition means and to really challenge the reader on what that looks like. And I think that you guys have pretty much clued into like my point of the whole thing. So I just like to challenge people, I guess. Haha, suckers, get on.
So I'm getting the vibe that I was in the wrong here. Literally every other person was correct.
Finally.
I think Tim I think Tim was like the first one who gave like the whole thing in the chat before, and I was like, "Ha, Tim got it."
It's funny because I actually tend to miss that stuff because when I get immersed, I just kind of keep reading and ignore things.
I do
Like
too.
when I read Bill's book, he literally put the name of my book in it, and I did not notice it. It was like
You didn't see it?
Nope.
That's so funny.
So I always miss
He
that
found
stuff. I
Mike's.
just get-
He found Roberti's title in it, but he didn't find his. So I'm like, "Did you see yours? It's in the same chapter." And he's like, "No."
No, but when I get immersed, I get zoned in. I don't even like it doesn't hit me until
I wouldn't either, Tim, if it makes you feel better. I'm really blind when it comes to things like this.
Only if I've been given a challenge, like look out for book titles or something, then I may catch it. But otherwise, I also get stuck in the story.
Yep. I'm a little oblivious. I just love reading when I have the time.
So the character on the cover, though, Henry, Mr. Henry, or not Mr.
Mix.
Yeah. What Do you know their backstory?
Yep,
Will we ever find out the backstory?
possibly.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
That's how you do an interview.
Yeah, I do know Henry's backstory. I know exactly who raised them. I know where they come from. Did you pick up on the sign language?
Yeah, I remember that early on in the book.
Cool.
I kind of lost track of that later on. There was so much else happening.
Yeah, that was specifically to Henry, specifically. And then some of it just kind of came in with the other constructs, but it was initially built for communication with Henry.
And of course, I also found it interesting that only Sybil can really hear the constructs speak, and that the others, just hear their jaws clacking and that kind of thing.
And scratching, yeah.
Yeah,
The rattling of bones, yeah.
exactly.
That's a little bit terrifying.
See, this is my favorite part about lasses is they are they're sassy. They're so sassy. And they handle a lot of the bookkeeping for Sybil's farm. They are like the brain behind the whole operation. And I just can't imagine like being a vendor walking up to like make some sort of agreement with this really, really successful farm and like getting carrots into my business so I can sell this or whatever, and walking up and having a skeleton there with a clipboard and just like because lasses can't shut up, so like their jaw is just going to go clack 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 clack. It's just funny to me, but also, can you imagine how terrifying that would be?
It would be completely terrifying. Be like, I'm never dealing with that farm again. Oh man, the skeleton just kept clacking at me.
The skeletons like working in the fields. Yeah.
I would love to see this made into a movie because like, it would be so scary, like unintentionally scary.
Yeah, it would be. You're absolutely correct.
I don't know, I
It
just
would be like
imagine like
a
a
horror film.
Three Stooges
With
skit.
stop motion, it would be nice. Like Corpse Bride styles stop motion animation. That would be my
Oh.
favorite.
There you
I
go.
know. I would die. That'd be
That'd
so
be
good.
hilarious.
Or maybe something Ghibli-esque. I can
Mhm.
see where it's like
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
terrifying, like maybe Spirited Away, where some
Yes,
things are really
exactly what I was
terrifying,
thinking.
but there's also a lot of like coziness going on too.
All of my
Spirited
books, I
Away in
imagine,
live
would be
action would be the
Ghibli
most
farm, so-
horrifying movie.
I can't even imagine. Like, I'm struggling to even imagine that movie being live action.
No, it wouldn't work.
Couldn't
Um,
do it.
yeah, it's very fun to visualize what this looks like in my head for sure.
So
Probably
I had
fever
another
dream.
unrelated question, but I got a lot of like Ursula K. Le Guin vibes when I was reading this story. Do you feel like you're influenced by Ursula K. Le Guin's writing, or maybe have you not read her that much? I was just curious because it did feel kind of similar in tone.
I have read exactly one Ursula Le Guin book ever, and that was what was it? I'm drawing a blank. It's small. It's not one of her fantasy books, actually. I think it was a contemporary novel. I think it was in normal space. Anyways, I don't remember it, but it really touched me, and I have it somewhere, but I have things in boxes now because I'm in the process of moving houses. But that one really did impact me in how I write, but I haven't read any other Ursula K. Le Guin.
And none of her fantasy stuff.
None of her fantasy
Interesting.
stuff. I've not read Earthbound or Earthsea.
Or Wizard of Earthsea, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm bad. So no. Yes and no.
You might enjoy it though.
I think I would if I had more time. But right now I have to get through the Autolic Stone.
Absolutely, that's your top priority.
Yeah, those 50-minute chapters.
I just wanted to be like Alex,
Exactly.
Chapters? What are chapters?
Yeah, what are chapters?
See?
Suggestions.
I always like have to stop at the end of a chapter, so I get so stressed when it's like
when
I
they're
just consider the scene breaks to be chapters at that point. It's like whatever.
Yeah. I
We're
mean-
going to bed.
For mine, the scene breaks did operate essentially as chapters. Yep.
Yeah, I can't. I have to. I'm like you, Tim. I have to read to a chapter, and like I get so mad when like the kids will block me from finishing a chapter. I'm like, damn it, because I don't really remember what I just read if I don't get to the end of the chapter.
Well, there's nothing worse than you pull up your Kindle and you just a random sentence in the middle of like a 20-page chapter.
Yep.
I do that all the
So
time. I'm just
unnatural.
like, I'm going to bed, bookmark, done. Wherever I'm at. No, I mean,
I
I
just
try. I
can't.
try to finish the breakpoints, but sometimes I just don't. I guess that's why I didn't care about chapter sizes, because I just okay, I'm done.
This is actually the second book I've read that didn't have chapters, and I didn't realize that they didn't have chapters. Like I read Your Blood and Bones from
Yeah, that also didn't have any.
yeah, and she was asking me what I thought of having no chapters. I was like, did not notice.
Well, that's gotta be a good thing.
That is very satisfying to hear. Oh, I didn't notice that there weren't chapters. It's like,
Hmm.
ha, gotcha.
How did you format then? If it's like, what's your formatting? Because I know some of the systems, like if you use Atticus or something, like they don't allow you to do stuff like that.
Act and POV changes. So the book is split into 3 acts, right? So here's the table of contents for people who haven't seen it. Chapter 1 is essentially Act 1, right? And then we have 3 point of views. We have Sybil, Antonio, and Sybil. Act 2, we do the same thing. So as you can see, I alternate between them. 1, 1, 1, 1. Everything is 1, 1 change. Hi, I did that on purpose. So that's how. And Atticus, for some reason, liked me enough to let me do that. And it has not been nice to me ever since. I think it holds a grudge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm currently reading ZB's book, and he has chapters, parts, and interludes.
Oh,
And I'm like, damn it, ZB, this is too much. You're doing too much.
Huh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should make my readers angry that way.
I think
Yeah, just keep
Sanderson does
adding
that
things.
too, where there's chapters, parts, and interludes. Yeah,
Who?
Sanderson.
Oh, he does it too much. Like there's prelude, and it's way too much stuff.
Yeah,
You gotta stop.
I think that's a lot too. But
Yeah.
Well, that was my biggest dislike of the Way of Kings. The hell is it called? Stormlight Archive, where he has like interludes with like random characters that you never see again. It's a cool concept, but after like the 50th interlude, you're like, come on, bro, just get to the main cast.
no. That's one of my reading pet peeves. If you've got too many characters that are not useful to the story and they have their own POVs, cut.
Alex, have you read Gardens of the Moon on a completely unrelated?
I have not. And yeah, it's kind of on my list of probably would not enjoy based on what I hear.
I like
Yeah, it is not cozy, and it is not romance.
Oh, ambitious?
No,
Oh,
Malazan.
Mausen? Okay, I'll have to read that one. No? Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's supposedly like it's one of those, one of the top favorite series of all time for most fantasy readers. But I've DNF'd it 3 times, the first book, so it's hard. It's confusing, and it's a lot going on.
But on the subject of POVs, I do want to swing it back. I usually don't like multiple first person, but I felt each character was really distinct, and it worked here.
Thank you.
Like I think I wrote this. You could pick any page in the book, and you could probably tell who it is.
Oh,
Just by reading a
good.
few sentences.
On that note, and we've talked a little bit about this, is that I didn't really connect with Sybil at
Yeah,
all.
that shocked me. I thought that was like the craziest thing.
I really, really struggled to keep in her POV because I didn't understand how her brain worked. Like, she is not a character that I like. I might know her, I might be friends with her, but I just couldn't understand how her brain ticked.
Was there ever
I understood to a T.
Were you tempted to go third person? Because I personally could never write a character if I didn't know what they were thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For first person present was very difficult. Again, because it's Derby, I wanted to push myself on different writing skills. So I wanted to prove to myself that I could write a first person present. Now that I'm writing the sequel and the sequel, I hate this. Please make it stop.
But I mean, are you proud of yourself? Because you honestly did a great job. Like I never would have known you didn't know what was going on in that character set.
I think I
It
did
felt
a
like
good
you were
job.
very close with them and you knew what you were doing.
The fact that people are picking up on exactly what Sybil stands for and are able to connect with Sybil makes me feel like I did something right, because I couldn't. So
maybe you know what she's thinking and you don't realize it.
Yeah. I'd like to just ask, was there any specific hook that eventually that you could kind of latch onto and say, oh, okay, this is what's kind of helped me understand Sybil or like connected us?
I think just we have a shared interest of needing calm in our lives, I think. And I think while we go about that in different ways, Sybil and I, as if I'm talking about someone who is alive, but they're alive in our heads, right? I think the shared need for just quiet, however we get there, I think is something that makes it easier to connect with her.
Yeah, I like that aspect of her.
Mm-hmm. I completely disagree with her by the end of the book, but that's okay.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch her run away in that one moment.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on an hour here. I know you mentioned sequel. Is it a continuation of these two characters, or is it going to be branching off?
So I initially started writing Ambitious 2 probably about a year ago. So almost exactly when I finished this one, I have the next one in my head. It's just not on paper. The trouble with that, for one, is my life has been insane this year. And then for two is that I wrote Ambitious when I was very angry with the world for certain things. And I needed to get that out on paper. You might find some parallels there from things that might have been happening in current events back then, because I was very mad. The trouble with the book, too, that I had initially started is that it doesn't... Morgan, I swear to God.
No, it's
actually, this is
ambitious.
Gonna be past 5. We're done.
Too ambitious, too normal. No.
Huh?
Too ambitious, too normal.
Too ambitious, too
Electric
normal.
Bungalow.
Exactly.
By the way, if this is the Morgan that I think it is, Morgan is a fantastic indie author, and you should probably go read their books, Kotov Syndrome and Wood Pusher. And they have an upcoming novella too, which is a lot of words, and I will get to it. But anyways, it isn't what's happening right now, and it doesn't have what I'm angry about now. And I am very angry at the world now. I think a lot of us are, and I need that catharsis in a different way. So when I first wrote the first bits of the sequel that I intended it to be, it actually was Lassus, and I think it's going to be, and then Antonio and Sybil. So there would be 3 point of views there. But this other one came into my idea because I couldn't fit the things that I'm angry with the world into the book that I was imagining. But the things I'm angry with the world need to be said. So I started writing this other thing, which takes place both in the time that Antonio is invading Led and the 100 years ago when the first war happened. So obviously it's not Antonio and it's not Sybil.
Let me ask you this.
Huh?
Is it difficult because there's literally nothing bad going on in the world right now?
There's nothing happening in the world right now that would make me angry. Yeah, it's really hard, just blank sheets. So the one character that is current, quote unquote, is a a woman in Cairn that discovers that she has necromantic powers, which is not okay in Cairn. And the other one is the point of view of another necromancer before the war happens, before basically civil war erupts in Lead, way before Cairn, way before the Druids left, and how their dynamic shifted leading up to that civil war.
So we're gonna get a really cool old druids versus old necromancers fight scene, right? Battle scene.
Yes, actually, I have a lot of those in mind.
That actually sounds awesome.
Thank you. So far, I've written about 1,000 words into it. I'm feeling so good. It has a completely different tone. It's starting out in first present, which is surprising to me that I was able to write it that way. But oof. It's a different vibe. So that might make people mad, but
Who cares?
there are no rules.
You're the author.
That's what I said in chat is if you're gonna make readers mad, better make them very mad.
Yes.
Big mad.
I should have that framed.
Poppy, thank you for joining us this month, or for letting us read this awesome book. And everyone, thank you for joining. The chat was pretty fun. But yeah, definitely for those who might not have read this yet, it is a fun, cozy, romantic, necromantic story that
Very unique, very different.
Very different, and it's a lot of fun. So highly suggest it. But this book again was our monthly Indie Book Club read, and we have our Goodreads group, so you can find it in the description below, and you can also find Poppy's information in the description below. Check her other books out from her website, because they're Derby books, they're not under her pen name. So you can't find them all on one Goodreads page. So check out her website, but also go into the Goodreads group and select our next monthly read. We still got a week left, or 5 days left before the month, and maybe this is the month. November might be the month of Far Removed. Miss Co.
Is the voting up?
Yeah, voting. The poll is still up.
I've literally never voted. I gotta vote.
And
I really want Far Removed to win, because I want to see people get really upset.
Good.
Yeah, if you like the kind of cozy and horror mix, then there's a little bit of that in my book too.
It's actually the perfect November read, I think, because it's like right about that time where everything's dying.
Where everything's dying. Thanks.
Like the world.
I do before we go, I need to call out these two titles because I had forgotten them. So the first title is Ursula K. Le Guin's Very Far Away from Anywhere Else. That's the one book that I've read. So shoot me or don't. And then the other one is Guitar Concerto in C flat major, OP12, Lucina by S. Morgan Burbank. So that is a novella that's coming out next month. If you're interested, it is a very complicated title. You can find it on their website.
We need Greg to acronym that one.
Yeah, we need to do Greg's acronym for that one.
I have like 3 of Greg's books, but I don't even know the name of it.
He's got one-word books, Tim.
Well, no,
Bloodwoven. It looks like it's 2, but it's only 1.
BLDWVN. There we go.
Right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining.
Right,
we will see you next month with potentially Co. Maybe we'll see. Go ahead and vote on our Goodreads page.
Yeah, go vote.
Yeah, rig the vote.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Bye.